Blessed greetings to all my supporters. This is Jah-P Sports Talk. I hope everyone is keeping safe. Trust me. West Indies versus Australia. Trust me. I love this contest. Yes, yes, yes. So the West Indies started day two, and we were chasing down Australia 286, and we managed to go close to their total. We're bowled out for 253, falling short, you know. So just gonna run it down into the scorecard. Craig Brathwaite playing in his 100th test match. He went for a duck. That's an unwanted record for Craig Brathwaite. He joins a club of few other cricketers that played a 100 test match and made a duck and their 100 test match. John Campbell, was looking pretty solid, 40 from 52. But somewhere, somehow, John Campbell find a way to come down the track to hit a ball up into the air. John Campbell, John Campbell. I don't know what to say. I'm very disappointed in you, John Campbell. And I don't know if John Campbell realized what is really at stake. John Campbell haven't gotten banned, made some runs, and then come back into the team. That's a perfect opportunity for you to rebuild yourself and to continue to make a name for yourself. You understand me? No, he have one more innings to try and prove himself. You understand me? So it's gonna be very interesting to see if he can prove himself in the second innings, or if not, I guess we have to make some changes for the third game in Jamaica. And I think ahead of that game in Jamaica, John Campbell should be trying his best to make some runs. So that match in Jamaica, he will be able to play on his home ground. So we are waiting to see what he will produce in the second innings. So Casey Carty, he went for 6. I am a brilliant catch there by Pat Cummins. Trust me, brilliant catch by Pat Cummins. I have to give him credit. As a fast bowler, bowling and then following through. Trust me, I have to give him thumbs up. He definitely full stretch. I know as a captain, you definitely want to lead from the pack. So, but I think Casey Carty have to start play a little bit soft hands. Brandon King, 75 from 108 deliveries. Well done, Brandon King. Playing his second test match, and making his first half century in test. Trust me, and just missing out, just the ball just as barely touches gloves, and they went up for the appeal and they ended up got it. The review. Rastan Chase, I think he was a little bit lazy onto the front foot, and as a result of that, Justice Wood got a ball that nipped back a little bit, and he went for 16 from 39. Shea Hope 21 from 51. The going wasn't easy for the players, but they were trying to take their time. Justin Greaves, out, bowled by Leon Card Carey. Alzar Joseph, he was looking pretty solid. I like the approach that Alzar Joseph making in this test match. We definitely see a different Alzar Joseph, and things like these we want to see, my viewers. We want to see the maturity of these players. Sometimes they come out just swinging and doing a sort of madness. But Alzar Joseph, 27 from 49. I was looking at him and Shamar Joseph, and I was saying, wow, these batters definitely can try and battle the next 20 plus overs, and then maybe at the end of it we may hit off that 286 and maybe try to settle the total. But Alzar Joseph took the bait. Alzar Joseph took the bait. You understand me? And he went for 27. Shamar Joseph, he was bowled by Mitchell Stark, 29 from 41. He was also looking pretty solid. And I think Shamar Joseph is somewhat unfortunate. The ball happened to hit off his pad and then fall into the wicket. Anderson Phillip, was looking pretty solid also. 10 from 40 balls. And then Jaden sees 7 from 34. And trust me, I don't know whatever encouragement these players got. I must say, whoever is behind it, I must commend them. I definitely saw a different tail ender. I just saw a different in the way they approach everything. They are not just thinking about going into the pavilion to just go and relax and stuff like that. And And trust me, I must applaud whoever is behind this, Darren Sammy and everyone. I must applaud them. And I must applaud the players also for this mindset, because not very often you would find fast bowlers want to come there and soaking up a lot of deliveries. But trust me, I love what the guys did, you know. And trust me, if when Alzarri Joseph got out, you know, if he didn't get out at that point in time, I definitely think that they could have probably tried to make some more runs, and we would have probably reached closer to the total, you know. But Alzarri Joseph went for the beat, as I said. So 21 extras conceded by Australia, 11 leg byes and 10 byes. The bowling now, Mitchell Stark, 1 for 48. Josh Hazelwood, 2 for 43. Pat Cummins, 2 for 46. Bowie Webster, 1 from one wicket, 17 runs. I beg your pardon, my viewers. Nathan Leon, 3 wickets, 75 runs, and Travis Ed getting the last wicket there of Anderson Phillip. It was a close call, you know, and to me, it may just seems like may have just bounced, and it may seems as if he has just happened to just put his hand on the ball. So I think that may be another controversy situation to talk about. You know, so a different third umpire though, not the same third umpire. So the Australians had a little lead of 33, you know. So things started good for the West Indies in their second bowling innings. Jaden sees bowling Sam Castans. You know, Sam Castans played after a wide ball and dragged that one. He was out for a dub. Usman Kawaja, you know, his poor run of form continues. He was out two. He was out for two from 11 deliveries. You know, LBW by Jaden Seals. So Cameron Green is currently there on 6 not out, and Nathan Leon, the night watchman, is on 2. You know, so going into day 3, you know, it's gonna be very interesting to see how the West Indies bowlers go at things. You know, I definitely think that their first approach is to try and get Nathan Leon Rickett. You know, try and bring in Steve Smith and see how best they can try and get down the harder. You understand me? I think the bowlers need to come up with a plan as to the way how they get Steve Smith out. You know, I think they can maybe try some short balls at first, and then after that, you know, they'll see how it goes. But trust me, a cricketer like Steve Smith, you just don't want to allow him to get going. Well, all cricketers overall, you know. Cameron Green, he hasn't been the best of form for Cameron Green, you know, and questions are asking, is Cameron Green the right choice for that number 3 slot, you know? And we are waiting to see if he will make some runs in this innings, you know. But trust me, the Australians currently lead by 45 runs. You know, it's just such a pity that the West Indies weren't able to eat off that it you know, make that 286 and maybe set a small lead, or even just by hitting that run off, it would have made a difference, you know. But we go into day 3. You know, it's going to be very interesting to see if this test match is going to go to day 4, or is it going to finish in day 3. You know, going to be very interesting. But we're just hoping that the West Indies bowlers can definitely come up with a plan. I think that Rastan Chase will have to do a little bit more bowling, you know, being as Jamel Warrican did not play in this match. I think Rastan Chase may have to do a little bit more bowling. But it all depends on the amount of work or how quickly the fast bowlers get in the wickets. You know, we anticipate to see how that goes, you know. So tomorrow will be day 3. You know, we look forward for that. I must commend the Grenadian supporters for coming out and supporting the West Indies, you know, and all the Australian fans, you know, and the cricket lovers overall that have traveled so many million miles away to go to Grenada and give their support to whichever team. You know, trust me. You know, a bit sad for Craig Brathwaite. You know, we would have definitely loved for him to make a century or even make a 50 or something on his debut. Yeah, on his 100 test match. I beg your pardon. You know, but it is what it is. You know, there's one more innings for him to come good, and we hope that he will deliver, because at where things stands right now, I think his spot is definitely up for grabs. You know, being as he's no longer the captain and his poor run of form has been there for some time now. So, want to ask a question. If Craig Brathwaite does not perform in the second innings, will he get a third strike, in Jamaica? So some questions going to be on the card, trust me. But until then, I wish him all the best that he will make some runs in that second innings, and I hope that John Campbell can, make some runs also, and all the players, Casey Carty is a bit short of runs. So this second innings, that will come up maybe tomorrow or the fourth day, it's going to be very interesting for some of these players. Some of these players are short on runs, so they need to make some runs in order to keep their spot in the team. I know that it's going to be hard to bring in four different players, but it's a possibility that we may have 2 or 3 changes for that final match in Jamaica. All right. So, my viewers and subscribers, I just want to thank you all for subscribing, like, share, and comment. And I wish you guys all the best for the remainder of the week. Keep safe and all the best for the weekend. Jah-P Sports Talk.